Hi everybody, I'm Laurie from Laurie's Mechanical Marvels, and welcome to the Monday Club.
It's Monday, it's 7pm, and the grunts are fueled. It's time for the Monday Club, featuring your host, Jennifer Kirk, with the help of Stubborn Monkey and a wizard called Gandalf. Featuring the sounds of the Glass-O-Eight Symphony Orchestra and the musical stylings of Gordon, the Music Maestro. Let's get ready to Loco!
Exclusive Monday Club William Loudon Sons Palbrick Wagon is now available from Rails of Sheffield. Order yours now with confidence. Big hello to you, so great to see you, and I hope I find you well on this absolute sweatbox of a day.
Oh, how nice that you describe it that way, my dear.
It is, yes, absolutely. So hot. If you've probably seen the glistening, that's because it is. And if it sounds like mission control, it's because we've got 3 fans up, 4 if you include the extractor
Also,
fan.
we are attempting to do the first launch of a Gronk into space.
Are we?
Yes, that's why we're in mission control.
Oh, yes.
We're gronking it up.
Gronk?
Literally.
Gronk it up. Gronk it up. Gronk it up. Not a cult.
The first Gronk on the moon.
So, Sarah Davis asks, where's the turnips, Jenny? No turnips were harmed in the making of this Monday Club. Big hello to Francis Wadsworth, Sarah Davis, Peter Jackson, Cheadle Heath, A.D. Pullen, Simon Trent's Mother Railway Showcase says, buy the wagon or get a brick through your windows. Yeah, come on, guys. We've got to sell out these Monday Club wagons. Jenny got to eat her beans, and she can't afford beans unless you buy her wagons. Andy Stewart says, I bet it's hot up there. And some, yes.
Yes, it's a little bit.
Rick Morley, hello to you. Flymo Chairman 1, Southern Train Girl, Malcolm Moore, Egg Rider, Peachy TT120 says, what's happened to the Zoe show?
My office has nothing in it right now.
Axwan92 says, should get some AC. Yes, we should. 1968 Concord says, Apollo 08 then.
Love it.
Yeah, there's a New Junction. Big hello to you. Martin Parkinson, Wangok, Zantec, Nick at Bletchton High Level, Warbler Productions. We've got loads of people. Harry Sedgwick. It's great to see you all, and I hope you are well. Coming up today, we have on the show Chris Eden Green, and we'll be talking about his range of steam locos in profile, in particular the USA DVD that came out a few months ago now, but we've got him on as a guest. Really interesting to have a good chat. Yeah, if you hear a big rumble in the background, we keep getting the thunder, but just not the rain. It's really annoying. So we've got
the sunshine after the rain now. Well, our bluebirds flying.
No, I would say we'd get a copyright strike, but not with her singing.
If I got anywhere near a copyright strike, I'd be amazed.
Yeah, if you get near a note, don't forget to hit it. We're going to be talking with Chris about steam locos in profile. Newest one, the USA one, is recently out, but also one of my favourites, Manx and Miniatures as well. We did do a review on that quite a while ago.
That one was fascinating as well.
Really loved this, and one of the things that I love about Chris's work is that it's got a really deep level of research, and his presentation skills is very accessible. Even if you're not into trains in a big way, like the Cupboard Monkey, it's a bit like watching Top Gear. I'm not a car person, but I like watching proper Top Gear, not the rubbish after Hammond and Clarkson and May left. But that where the camaraderie between people, and Chris has that. He has the camaraderie with the viewer, and it's just so accessible and it's fun.
Like I said when we were watching that one on Manx. It's like watching something from BBC Two. If this was on the BBC, it would not look out of place. And his American one is just as good in that respect.
Yeah, absolutely.
I really enjoyed it.
Or even Netflix. You could see something like that on
Yeah,
Netflix.
Chris, if you're watching, get on Netflix.
oh, I never thought of that. If only it were that easy. But yeah, if you
Actually, get on Amazon Prime. It's easier. And we've still got that, so we can watch.
Okay, right. But anyway, that's going to be coming up. We're going to be dialing up Chris at about 1:15. But what's in the news? Well, the new O-Gauge Daypole B4 has just been released, hitting the shops now. And for any O-Gauge modelers, then this is a really interesting upscaling from the 00 model, which has been out for quite a few years now. Certainly a lovely model, although beware if you're DCC fitting the 00 gauge model, it does punish the unwary. However, it looks like we've got no such issues with the O-Gauge version, and you might have seen that I did share some photos of that out there on Internet World on the Facebook group as well.
Have you moved that camera? I seem to be on that camera more. Hi everyone. Hi.
I think it's slowly moving round. I don't know what's going on. I will. I
just realised that I'm on camera. It's a good thing I'm wearing a top.
Actually, yeah, good point. A New Junction says Chris does fantastic work. Absolutely. Partick Hill Station, great to see you. Peter Jackson, Cheadle Heath. Sarah Davis says, I used to, loved it, but they haven't done any new in ages, have they? I noticed that Channel 5 have been showing season 2 of the...
Michael Portillo's Railway Challenge.
Ah, yeah. Oh, apparently Channel 5 is showing series 2 of the Railway Challenge again, so I'm back on TV, apparently.
You never offer, you're always on Crime Watch.
It got syndicated around the world, so a friend of ours was in Australia, turned the TV at late night, couldn't get to sleep in the hotel room, turned the TV on. Muggins here was looking back at them. Big hello to Jane.
No wonder they couldn't sleep.
Mick at Edgeley Park Station. It's like, yeah, looking at you through your TV.
Through your vents.
Yeah, coming at you through your vents. Skipsy Trains, good evening, Jenny. Good evening, Zoe. Good evening, everybody. Hot Dog Pilot, Andy. Linnet 12DD, we've got a really good turnout. Exarcon 42 says, my KR Models GT3 arrived today. Reasonably impressed thus far.
Excellent.
Absolutely. The new run of GT3s is also hitting the shops. And this includes 3 never before offered What If liveries, including BR Black, BR Green, and LMS Black too. So if, like me, you're quite interested in liveries that the real thing might not have ever carried, and certainly with the GT3 it never carried anything other than the regular chocolatey brown. I think it was called Zephyr Brown. Then there's some really great options out there following on from the... I just heard a beep from somewhere. Following on from the success, actually, of the Rail Blue version. So they are in the shops, but if you're looking for the regular Zephyr Brown, or British Leyland Poo Brown, as everybody else calls it, GT3, then there is a new batch of them as well.
Tim's Model Railway in different videos was 30 on Friday. I believe we have a song about that.
Yes, we do. Happy birthday to you, squash tomatoes and stew, bread and butter in the gutter. Happy birthday to you. Also coming at you through the vents is the new Acura Scale Class 37 batch, including some really quite eye-catching liveries. Moving on from the, we had the DRS, the regional railways and intercity executive liveries in the first tranche that were released, and now we've got the really quite eye-catching 37027 in what I tend to call BR small logo blue, but with a very light sort of grey waistband stripe, and they're looking good. Also today we had Acura Scale offering up some images of the livery samples of the Class 89 Flying Badger that they're doing.
The what?
Yeah, just deal with it, Cupboard Monkey. Trains get weird nicknames, okay? Like Gronk, yes?
Gronk is not a weird nickname, it's
Yes,
a
it
nice
is.
nickname.
Anyway, Flying Badger, Class 89, showing off livery samples of those. Looks great. That is being done in partnership with Rails of Sheffield, I believe. J. Paul Anderson says hello all. Oh, wait a minute. But it's 10 minutes past. That can mean only one thing.
Here he comes.
Oh, hello, Gandalf.
My goodness, it's warm up here.
Yeah, I was saying, are you not too hot with all them robes on?
A Monday clubber is never late to the wagons, nor is he early. He arrives precisely when he means to.
Thanks, Gandalf. Zantek says you could also call it River Mersey Brown. No, I think British Leyland Pooh Brown is the best.
Robin Silver had a birthday on Saturday just gone, so I
Ooh.
believe we have a song for that. And, yes, Robin Silver says his birthday was on Saturday just gone, 37 years old. I believe we have a song.
Yes.
I believe it goes something like, Happy birthday to you, squash tomatoes and stew, bread and butter in the gutter, happy birthday to you. What did they name the 68, says Zantek?
I don't know, but I do wonder what the 69's nickname is.
Way! Jenny!
Is there a sponsor, says Hot Dog Pilot Andy. There is a sponsor. It comes from the world of Billy's Replacement Speakers. And it includes the Great Monday Club wagon, still available from Rails of Sheffield. So do please buy it. Because we can't announce the next one until we've sold them out.
Thanks for kind of announcing that we might be thinking about another one.
Well, everybody knew that we were going to do one every year, possibly. Gordon Hanning says, I'm still waiting for my Curiosco Class 37, however, did get my Siphon G. And absolutely, the Siphon Gs, a lot of them appearing on people's layouts. So, really, really looking forward to seeing what other liveries that... What? Hey, what? Oh, Ham Shackleton says a 69 has to be a Pisces.
A Piskies.
Trains with Nick says the Class 68 is called I'll Owe You One. Janie B says, aren't 68's cats? Meow. Jerry BVR says, no wonder Jenny's going hungry with all this bread and butter in the gutter. I'm not going hungry. Which bit of this suggests that I am missing meals? Wardle Road, evening all, just on a break before I take a stone train out. Of course, Wardle Road now gets to drive real 66s. He's really come on in leaps and bounds.
I know. He started out
in 00. And then he moved to 5-inch gauge, and now he's got full size.
I know 1-to-1 scale modelling is it's a big investment.
Yeah, Tim's model railway in different videos. The honourable mention of the Bill and Ted moment. 69 dudes. Wardle Productions asks, what's running on the layout tonight, Jenny? Well, we've got
stuff. Lots of stuff.
We've got a Class 46 on the exceptionally long coal train. We've also got the Midland Compound in Midland Railway Maroon. Backman Class 25052 is running one of the ABC shuttles. We've got a Class 56 on one of the others and a 27 on the third. We've got D5054, one of the preserved Class 24s, is on the innermost track. And we've also got a Class 16 doing the rounds on the outermost track. Leslie Gilpin Railway says, don't forget Wardle Road started out in N. Oh, did you?
My goodness.
Peter Webster says, I ordered from Ellis Clark first time last Thursday and not impressed as payment got rejected, so I had to resend, then promised delivery for Saturday, not turn up, call today, and order not being picked. Sorry to hear that.
Sometimes things happen.
Ben Davis says, when's the Superstar tonight? Well, it has just rolled over.
It has, so.
My glamorous assistant is not available, so the Cupboard Monkey will be dialing Chris in.
Thank you very much, my dear. Do
You're
you want to bring
welcome.
up on your phone the chat so that you can see it?
Oh yes, I need the chat.
So while you're doing that,
You do
I
your
will
special
phone
dance.
Mr. Chris. Here we go.
Right, so I'm going to bring up the chat. Oh no, it's like...
I believe Chris is here. Hello.
Good evening.
Have we... Oh,
Can
wait a minute, I
everybody
need
hear
to
me
put
all
my...
right? Yes, no?
I mean... So, can you hear me, Chris? Are you...
I can hear you fine. I can't hear anybody else, though. Actually, yes, I can hear you fine. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you okay. We're not getting a video feed through at the moment, so... have we lost the video feed?
We're sending a video, but we're not getting one.
We don't seem to be getting a video feed from you at the moment, but I'm guessing everybody at home is able to hear Chris at the moment. So, look, anyway, whilst the Cupboard Monkey tries to sort out with the... can I press the button for that yet, or are we...
Oh, well, all you'll get is a thing on the screen, but yeah, you can press it.
Okay. So, press the magic
That's
button.
all we're seeing.
So,
So Chris can now see what we're seeing.
So, right. Anyway, look, it's great to have you on, Chris. I know we chatted with you very briefly in the chat when we had Simon A.C. Martin on, and we've reviewed some of your DVDs on the channel in the past, and really thoroughly enjoyed them. And I thought it would be a great opportunity to get you on just to talk a little bit about your filmmaking, what goes into that. And first up, how are you doing with the weather? It is desperately hot here, so if I sound a bit scatty, it's because we're running at about 35-40 degrees up here, and it is absolutely sweltering. Have you had the thunderstorm yet?
Not yet. It's roasting where I am at the moment because I live in Kent with my partner at the moment, and yeah, it's been pushing 25, 26 degrees down here, but we're keeping cool. I would be able to show you what I'm drinking in my hand at the moment, but I can't. So,
well,
to anyone who's wondering, I've got the Spitfire on tonight, so
all right.
signature drink.
Right. Apparently, we've got some kind of technical issue with the video, unfortunately. So I don't know whether has OBS gone and done something weird and.
We're sending video. We're not getting it.
Oh well. Okay. Well, look, we can work around that. So anyway, people in the chat will most undoubtedly recognise Chris from the Steam Locos in Profile and Soul Steam Loco in Profile series. We now have video, so you can show off your Spitfire to the world. I instead have to be well behaved. I've got water with a little bit of lime cordial, Rose's lime cordial. Not because I'm teetotal, but just because it's so hot. If I drank alcohol, I'd probably fall over. But
like that wouldn't happen anyway.
Yeah. So it's great to have you on. And your most recent DVD, the Steam Locos in Profile USA, came out. It's a few months ago now. How is that doing? Because it's certainly I thoroughly enjoyed actually watching this, and it's one of the things. Whenever I watch any of your stuff, the episodes go by so quickly, which I think is always a good sign that something is very engaging and very enjoyable. When it's just like, oh, it's at the end already. Really enjoyed this, but I'm guessing that there's a lot of work gone into this, not least because you've had to travel over to America. And did you do it all, the filming, in one go, or were there several trips to get everything in?
Well, so much I got to answer there. So, first of all, it's I always feel a little bit out of my depth whenever I come on the Monday Club because I haven't actually done any railway modelling as such since about 2006. So, because I've always kind of dabbled in like full-size railways ever since then. So it's really sweet of you guys to have me on. So, thanks very much, and thank you everybody who tunes in for even tuning into me. You know, I feel honoured even if one person tunes into what I do. It's just so humbling. Regarding the US trip, It was a lot of hard work. It had its great hardships, but overall it was an absolute blast. And it's been, it's been beautifully received by everyone who's seen it so far. I haven't had a bad word to say about it. Well, maybe there was one of the magazines did say perhaps it was a little bit on the pricey side, but that can be a matter of opinion. And I still hand out more content for less than people like Telerail and Transport Video Publishing, or at least I feel that I have to, if you will.
Yeah, and actually, I mean, I have to come to your defence here, because there's 10 programs on this, so it's not a short DVD. There's a lot of content on here, and a lot of variety as well. And that was something that struck me when we were watching it. It's not dealing with the same sort of topics in each episode. There's some very different railways, and some of the subjects that you cover, I'd never heard of, and that's what I like about your stuff. We had the same with the Manx and miniatures. I found it really interesting to learn about preserved railway schemes that I never knew about. And again, you've delivered that on the Steam Locos in Profile USA with things like I'd heard of the Mount Washington Cog Railway, but it's certainly very interesting to see that. But then, the whole load on the Shays, the Porters, Berkshires. Is it Berkshires or Berkshires? Because the Americans like to pronounce things differently.
Over there, for some reason, it's Berkshires. I'll never understand why. It's mainly because of the hills in Massachusetts, and then there's the Berkshire Hills, which is where the initial 284s were tested, and that's how they earned their nickname. But yeah, over there it's Berkshires, but over here it's Berkshires because of Berkshire County.
Yeah. Also, we're posh. But no, I thought it was a great cross range of different subjects, and of course this was. I remember originally you were doing a fundraiser to be able to produce this. And how difficult was that to kind of sell the project in advance to people, to get the money to be able to go out there and produce this?
It was a nerve-wracking experience, to say the least. Not least because of the sheer amount of money that I had to raise, needed to raise. Because when you're crowdfunding something, you have to sort of plan everything at least 2 months or so in advance, just to get the best prices on, flights and so on. But then you've got to sort of allow a certain degree of certain margin for error, because if you're planning with what I was doing, I had to plan everything like a year or so in advance at least. Yeah. And so I was relying on inflation not going up too much, and thank goodness it didn't go up until the very end of the trip. Yeah. I'll try not to get political here, but it's a good thing that I sort of came home shortly after Liz Truss came to power, because that's when the pound really crashed. Because it got to nearly parity at one point, which is unprecedented. Although, let's put it this way: when I was costing the project up, sort of December 2020 or thereabouts, the exchange rate was hovering around 70 to 72 pence to the US dollar. When I then went out there at April 2022. It was hovering around 82 pence per US dollar, and then when I came home it was around 93 pence per US dollar, so it jumped all over the place when I was out there.
See,
it was
when you're trying to do a project like this, that must be so nerve-wracking that even just a shift in the exchange rate can mess up everything you had planned. Because I seem to recall as well, you had like initial goals for what you wanted to film, and then you had stretch goals whereby if a certain amount was reached, then you could go and film X. If another target was met, you could go and film something else. So did you meet all of the targets that you set, or was there more that you would have liked to have gone and filmed?
Well, thankfully, I did manage to reach all of the targets and have a little bit in the pot to make a 10th film. Initially, I mapped out the idea of producing up to 9 episodes. So if I raised £5,000, I'll be able to do 1 film. If I raised 10,000, I'll be able to do 3, 15,000, I'll be able to do 5, etc., etc., etc. And thankfully, there was enough in the kitty to produce a 10th one. And thank goodness it just came about the way that it did. There were some changes that I had to make in the planning stage. Like there was one film I wanted to produce about the Sierra Railway Number 3, which is a locomotive that was used in many film productions over the years. It was in Petticoat Junction, the Casey Jones Show. It was the engine that was used in Back to the Future Part 3, where it's cascaded off the end of the canyon of the ravine. But unfortunately, it suffered boiler problems even before I got a chance to go out there. And Railtown 1997 in Jamestown, California, who look after the engine, said, "I'm afraid we're not returning it to service this year." So I had to replace it with something else. But lo and behold, fans of the show were able to tell me what it was they wanted me to do instead, and it just came off nicely. So thanks again to everybody who gave to the campaign. I don't know what I'd do without you guys, honestly.
Absolutely.
You're awesome.
And how different is the preservation scene out in the US compared to the UK? Because it's something that perhaps doesn't necessarily come across on film as much, but I'm curious how Americans view rail fanning, preservation of steam locomotives, and going and taking trips on preserved lines. Compared with, say, how it's viewed in the UK?
It's interesting in that it's very much like America itself, in that it's similar, and yet it's so completely different. So the people who are into it in a really big way. But it's a much more, I suppose it has to be a much more commercialized sector than it is over in the UK. Because, again, without getting too political about it, but the American working lifestyle doesn't allow as much paid vacation and free time as the UK one. So over here, most jobs, most employers give you 20, 25, 30, 35 days leave per year. Yeah. In America, you're very lucky to get more than 1 week's paid leave a year. So there's very little free time in many occupations, really. So there's a lot more sort of paid staff. There's a lot more seasonal operations. Stuff doesn't really tend to happen until about late April, early May. Right. And then November, the fall time, is when the photo charters come out in force because everyone's gone indoors for Thanksgiving and Christmas. And then January, February, and March, and most of April is when most places have just stopped running altogether for maintenance and so on. So it's a more seasonal operation over in the US than it is over in the UK, but it's still a big thing, and there's still so many interesting variables and changes over there than there is over here. Like over here, if you want to track a rail tour on the main line, you have to look up the times on real-time trains, or hopefully have someone on board and keep you updated with where the train is and at each of the timings. Whereas in the US, there's a website where you can literally legally hack, I should say, the radio exchanges between the crews and dispatch offices, so you can pinpoint exactly when a train is moving off by the radio communication.
Wow. And certainly in the UK, we were very lucky with the likes of Barry Scrapyard that a huge number of steam locomotives were able to be preserved. Did the US have anything similar, or have they struggled to have a representative? Oh, I think something just broke.
Oh.
Yeah,
I can hear something beeping.
Yeah, I think something's just derailed somewhere. They do that. I'm going to turn it off for a moment. What was it? Yeah, so in the UK we had Barry Scrapyard, which allowed a huge number of steam locomotives to be preserved. But in the US, was there anything comparable to that?
What's that? Sorry? I was distracted by the beeping.
In the UK, we were quite lucky with Barry Scrapyard. A huge number of steam locomotives were able to be preserved. So we've actually got quite a representative fleet of a lot of the locomotives that lasted to the end of BR steam. In the US, is there anything comparable to that? I mean, how how did locomotives enter preservation in the US? Was it a different route, or was it private individuals buying them? Or was there much more of an impetus for the actual railroads themselves to preserve items of their locomotives?
Well, it varies from state to state, I think. It's interesting how a lot of American railroad preservationists told me when I was out there that the easy thing that they found was that it was easy for them to snatch a load of stuff up that was being decommissioned, but then actually doing something with it, restoring it and running it, was the difficult bit. So if you go to a lot of just random railroad museums around several towns in the US, you'll often come across lines of stored locomotives and wagons and so on, just lying around on display. So yeah, there's a lot of unrestored stuff over there. But having said that, there is like I say, the ones who are into it in a big way, and as such, a lot of stuff is out there in small pockets. But the enthusiasm for it is still very strong, and as such, it's still, there's still a wide variety of stuff out there that's still running, which is it's always a nice thing to see.
And one of the things that actually I found quite interesting was certainly in the American 440 film on the Steam Locus and Profile USA, it was interesting to hear about how the American film industry, how Hollywood had actually played a huge role in preserving quite a lot of the older locomotives, purely, I guess, for being used as props in westerns and such like. But I found that fascinating, that locomotives that would have otherwise been scrapped by the 20s and 30s were preserved because of that rather interesting and unique route. I mean, was that something that was very apparent when you were over there in terms of the types of locomotives that have been preserved?
To be honest, that was a culture shock for me as much as it would be for anybody, really. I mean, the whole story, to give some context of what Jenny's saying, everybody, in the 1930s, Paramount Pictures preserved a fleet of locos from the old Virginia and Truckee Railroad out in Nevada. So there were mostly, it was mostly 440s and, loads of other, at the time, redundant rolling stock, some of which had been around since the mid-1870s. So that's why a lot of stuff featured in things like Disney's adaptation of The Great Locomotive Chase in 1956, and things like the original Wild Wild West, not the rubbishy remake with Will Smith and so on, but the TV series of which it was based on. And just lots of stuff like that. But it was interesting how you wouldn't think that a film studio would be up for preserving steam locomotives. So, that was a surprise for me as much as it would be for anybody, I dare say. But I think that's probably the main reason why so much stuff from that particular era and that particular shape, the classic 440, became such a global icon in history. Because
certainly, I mean, in the UK, we don't have anywhere nearly as much preserved locomotives and stock from that kind of period, the 1860s, 1870s. And it felt when watching the programme that there was a lot that had been preserved because of this need by Hollywood to have things they could use to shoot westerns as that genre got really big. And I just found that immensely fascinating. And it's something that I found with all of your films is that the depth of the research, it doesn't bog you down, in fact, but it presents them in a very accessible way. And it's kind of, it's what you call making learning fun. And I just found that really, really great when watching this. How much time would you spend doing research for each of these episodes?
I would say that I'm probably spending every waking possible moment on the films in some way, shape or form. When it's not research or writing, it's filming, it's editing, it's doing the music, it's recording the voiceover. It's, just trying to make the thing coherent, because the thing about research is that it's important to do as much of it as possible, but then when you're presenting it to a blanket audience, it's important for it to come across in a way that doesn't talk down to them. It puts them on the same level as yourself, so you can sort of so that they know it is what you're talking about, and they're interested in what it is you're talking about. Because you can spout out facts and figures and say blah 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 all the time, but as soon as if you just spout out too much at once, then it just goes straight over people's heads, and that's always a really difficult thing to try and get right. But at the same time, it's important not to spout out too little and
Mm.
make it too pathetically obvious. I remember I was about 2 years ago, I interviewed someone who who used to produce railway documentary programs for the BBC, stuff like The Train Now Departing and All Change at Evercreech Junction, and that classic era of when railway TV was at its best, I would say. And the thing that he said, something which I think is something that any producer of railway content could take forward, is that it's important not to talk down to a railway audience, because they know a lot and they're going to spot every mistake. And that mistake will haunt you for the rest of your life. I remember my partner and I were watching that new program with John Sargent and Piglet the other day on Channel 5, the great steam adventure across the UK. And there was one sequence where they were travelling up the East Coast Main Line behind Duchess of Sutherland. And in one shot, the engine was in LMS Crimson Lake, and then the next shot, she was in the BR green that she wore a couple of years prior. So you could tell that this program had been shot over several years. And I was just looking at that and thinking, I've chased steam engines up the East Coast Main Line and beaten them to many locations. It's not difficult to get the continuity right on the same day, guys. You could have taken me on as a cameraman, and I could have chased it for you and got that stock. Come on.
I mean, it makes me think of when I did Great Model Railway Challenge. In the credits for that, they've actually reversed a bit of footage. And the thing that you can't do with a steam locomotive is reverse it, because it looks very peculiar as it sucks all the smoke back in. And everybody, it stuck out like a sore thumb. So I know exactly where you're coming from with that. But I mean, how long have you been into filmmaking? Is this something that you've always been interested in, or has it come about later in life?
It's something which I've been interested in for a while, but it wasn't my first love. So my first love has always been steam engines. Ever since I was a boy, I had train sets, and we used to visit places like the National Railway Museum and the Bluebell and Kent Sussex and so on when I was a kid. There was Thomas on the TV, of course, as there would be at that period. And, he helped in his own way. So, I've always been big into steam engines in a big way. When I was leaving school, I knew that I wanted to do something on them for a living, but I wasn't quite sure what. And at first I thought that something would be engineering. So I undertook a mechanical engineering apprenticeship, and I worked for a small engineering firm for a couple of years. And that was interesting in its own way. But after a couple of years, growing up in the environment where you're the apprentice, you're the youngest in the firm by 30 odd years, you end up being the butt of quite a lot of the stuff that goes on. You end up being the blamed for things which aren't even your fault. And that sort of put me off a bit. But then I sort of had this wild dream, I suppose, when I was 22 or so. After seeing a couple of things on the TV and on home video about railways. Back in 2008, BBC 4 started launching more fresh railway content, like Julia Bradbury's Railway Walks, and they were showing that alongside classic stuff from the 80s, like Steam Days and so on. And I thought, well, these look really nice, but there's not much about locomotives specifically. So it was well produced and everything, but the information was a little bit lackluster, I felt, perhaps. I'm sure other people would have their own opinions on it. And then I started rewatching stuff which came out on VHS and DVD, like the old Castle Video VHS tapes about various steam locos from the Big Four and from British Railways. And there I found that there was almost this polar opposite going on in terms of production. The information was all there, and the research had clearly been done. But the editing was perhaps a little bit lackluster. I thought the sound mixing was a bit off in some places, and the commentary from Peter Woods, while really good, he was a great voice, but there were times when I thought the mixing and editing could have been a little bit better, and maybe the shot variety from the camera work could have been a little bit more interesting. And then, sort of 2009, Top Gear did that race with Tornado from London to King's Cross against the Jaguar and the bike, and I thought, I looked at that, at the way that was shot and edited, and thought, why the hell haven't rail fans got this equivalent? This is fantastic. This is how you make steam engines look exciting. And then, random thought, it escaped my mind for another 6 months. And then I came back from a concert from Wembley Arena late one night. I think it was December. This is December 2009 we've come up to now. And I was getting that sort of post-gig buzz from seeing one of your favourite bands live. Status Quo, by the way, for those who are interested. And I went immediately to YouTube to try and find clips of the gig that I'd just been to. Couldn't find anything, but in my search, I came across various reviews from people who were talking about classic films, old TV shows from their childhood, toys, video games, etc., etc. But there was nothing on steam engines. I thought, well, YouTube's obviously this great launch pad for people who can't get into film or television. Why don't I use it? Why don't I see if I could produce something like, more than just a generic railway montage of a day out at a gala weekend or something. Why don't I see if I can review steam engines myself? I'm going to go there and use that phrase, how hard can it be? So, yeah, I invested in a video camera and some various bits of equipment. I did a crash course in television presenting at an academy in London, and I've hardly looked back since. Good God, it's really been that long since I started doing it. I just realised it was in 2009 I came up with the idea.
I know, time does go past quick, doesn't it? And it's one of the things that I do love about your presentation is that there's a lot of thought gone into the visual aspect of it, making the cuts and the angles interesting. And some of the shots that really stood out for me with this was, you've put cameras so that they're filming the motion of the locomotive going along, and I think there's even one scene that you're actually filming the train coming in one of those concave mirrors. And I just thought, like, little interesting things like that. And it's doing for trains what Top Gear did for cars. And it's something in the, I don't know whether you caught the opening of the show, but for me, I'm not a car person. Take 'em or leave it. But the thing that Top Gear did was it made it accessible to the masses. It made it interesting and enjoyable to watch. And you didn't have to be a complete car nerd to really get a lot out of that. And I find your style very similar to that. Have you been inspired by any other presenters, any other specific productions, or have you tended to try and experiment a lot? How have you approached developing your style?
So I suppose I developed little bits from lots of people into my style. So yeah, there's the editing style and the color correction and so on does lend a lot of it to itself to Top Gear, that era of Top Gear specifically. But in terms of presentation values and level of research and the amount of coherent the way that information is brought across, it's really it really comes from any number of places. So some of it comes from David Lean, from films like Bridge on the River Kwai and Lawrence of Arabia. Some of it comes from Buster Keaton. I'm not a huge fan of using digital effects, so I like to try and do as much stuff tangibly as possible. Yeah. And if that involves me doing any kind of dangerous stunts, then I'll do it. I remember one of the first things I did when I was at university was a short 5-minute film about a train spotter who tries to go for that perfect shot and tries to go for it by any means necessary. It's called Blindside. If anyone wants to check it out, feel free, but there's no obligation.
So is that on YouTube?
Yeah, it's on my channel. It's one of the first things I ever did, so it probably shows its age a little bit. Interesting thing I just remembered about that, Simon A.C. Martin was my cameraman for most of that shoot, so big thanks to him. And yeah, there's bits that come from David Lean, bits from Buster Keaton. A lot of it tends to come from, rock stars of the 70s and 80s. So, if a lot of filming with slips, I will say it feels very much like being in a rock band that's just about to make it big but hasn't quite got there. Because there's a lot which I do have to sacrifice. There's a lot of hard work. There's a lot that is done for the sake of not great amounts in return. People think that because you're in show business that you have an easy life, and if people assume that because you are famous that you're on easy street, that
you go to bed at night on a big stack of cash, and it's not the case, is it?
Not always, no. Well, certainly not in my case. I'm barely able to get by with the rent every month.
Yeah, you and me both, and it's unfortunately. I think it's something that the rise of social media, of YouTube, and there's a lot of people that look at it and go, "Oh, it's a 15-minute video. It can't have taken you more than 15 minutes to put that together," and they think that you're making mega money, but actually, it's more about a labour of love. You do it because you love what you're doing. And if you actually worked out your hourly rate, it would be pitiful.
Yeah, if I was to charge a proper wage for what I did, then it would be off the scale, and nobody would want to pay for it. So I mean, let's put it this way: there's a reason why I needed to raise £35,000 to go to the States and not 3,000, because I was out there for 6 months. I was darting literally back and forth everywhere from Portland, Maine in the east, all the way out to Portland, Oregon in the west. I think I worked this out the other day. I think I've traveled about 43,000 miles when I was in the States. And
presumably it's not just you there. There's other people as well.
Well, there's various friends who are helping me out for sure. People like I had a friend out in Baltimore who I was able to use as my base when I was in the eastern states. Cheers, James, if you're watching, for helping me out. And there were various people out at various railroads who were able to help me out with various bits and pieces along the way. So shout out to Anthony at the who used to be with the Cumbres and Toltec Scenic Railroad. Shout out to Ray from the Southern California Railroad Museum for taking me around the western states. Shout out to Chris Walters, who joined me in Colorado. Shout out to Chris Homan over in Pennsylvania, who helped me out with various bits and pieces there, like the Reading Northern and the Harrisburg, Lincoln, and Lancaster. Shout out to Dan Gilliam, who helped me with the music down in Texas. If I've forgotten names, I do apologize. There were so many people who did help me out. Thank you very much. You're all awesome people. Don't ever stop. I don't know what else to say other than without repeating myself. I'm sorry.
No, absolutely. And that's the thing is, one of the things that I've loved about YouTube, especially, is the community. There's so many great people who will help out, and in return, it's great to help them as well. But where can people find your DVDs? If people are listening and thinking, "I like the sound of that," where's the best place to go to find your DVDs? I mean, we've talked about Steam Locos Improved Profile USA, the newest one, but you've got quite a back catalogue, and I believe there's some of the older ones. You've done a new print run, so some of the older ones will now be available again.
Yeah, so I've got how many have I got now? I've got 5 other volumes before Manx and Miniatures, and then there's the US one, which is available on DVD and Blu-ray and digital download for anyone who's interested, as well as various other bits and pieces. So the primary place to get them is my website, my online shop, which is www.e-gmedia.co.uk/shop. Shameless plug is shameless, I'm sorry to say. Otherwise, I tend to try and publish the newer episodes for a short free stint on YouTube before they go on DVD and download. And the reason for that is because while YouTube's ad revenue is pitiful, I do understand that people coming into the show for the first time would like to have a basic idea of what it looks like, and then have the choice as to whether or not they want to actually have it for themselves. The only contrarian part of that is that YouTube has yet to provide a way to stop people from downloading stuff for free. So my hands are really tied in that sense. I do want to give stuff out and provide those who can't afford nice things with nice things, but at the same time I've got to make my living so I can have nice things myself.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, what can you do?
Yeah, absolutely. And are you working on the next project yet? Have you got ideas of what you want to cover next?
I suppose at this point we should get the announcements out of the way so that so that you can stop asking me that question. First, so there's three announcements that I really ought to get out of the way. First thing is that as of today, I'm reissuing a new run of one of the oldest pieces that one of my camera crew and I worked on about 9 years ago now, which was coverage of the London Underground's 150th anniversary celebrations in 2013. So this is steaming back to Metroland. I'll try and get this a little bit close to the camera so it's not reflecting. So this is an hour's worth of coverage of the London Underground 150 celebrations, including the return of Steam on the Met. For the first time, I think, since the year 2000 was the last time that they ran it. So we got coverage of Met 1 and the pannier tank 9466 and the small prairie that was started up in London Underground colours as L150. I think it was Metropolitan Red, but please, someone do correct me if I was wrong.
I think it was the same livery that they did the Class 20s in, wasn't it? So they kind of matched.
Yeah, that's right. So they look quite smart in that livery, I think. I'm not a big fan of diesels, I'm sorry to say. Anyone who wants to shoot me now, go ahead. But, I think in that livery, the Class 20s did look quite smart, I'm glad to say. The only thing that looked slightly out of place for me was the fleet of Mark 1 coaches, which they sort of tarted up to look like they were made of wood. Thought that didn't quite work.
Right,
but,
yeah.
You couldn't exactly run the Met set at 60 mile an hour on the tube. So there we are.
Absolutely. A couple of final questions. One of the things that I've noticed comes up an awful lot, and it's a bit like the Blue Peter thing, where everything's measured in terms of double-decker buses, Olympic-sized swimming pools. I did notice that your favoured method of comparison measurement is the Brighton Terrier. It did come up a lot. Can we take from that that's probably one of your favourite locomotives, or one that you've become very familiar with?
Maybe not one of my favourites per se. I do like them. I do like Terriers, mainly because I used to work on the Bluebell Railway in Sussex many years ago, and I did help to overhaul Stepney during her last stint in traffic. So I sort of became acquainted with them, but the reason why I reference Terriers and 4Fs and stuff like that so much is because I think they are a well-known, suitable yardstick. A lot of rail fans appreciate, they know how heavy they are. They roughly know what the tractive effort is and what the fuel capacity is like. Many of them would know what their pulling power was. So, if you can, it comes back to that thing of coherence I was coming back to earlier on. If you can process the information in a way that other people can go, oh, so that's what it's like. I understand that. I get that reference. Then that's what helps to draw them in. And if you can compare to locos which people might be familiar with, then that helps to sort of make the comparison.
Absolutely. And if there was a locomotive that didn't survive, that you could magic up and have survived, what would be your choice for? The $64 million question. Yeah, if you could fire
if money were no object.
If you could fire up the DeLorean and go back and save one loco that didn't get saved, is there a particular one?
Stania Turbomotive in original form. I think that was, if steam technology was going to go places after the conventional reciprocating piston engine, that was probably where the technology was going to be taken. And I think had World War II not intervened, then who knows, maybe we could have ended up with steam turbine technology really taking off in this country instead of just being in the experimental stage. I was reading about it the other day and found that in original form, 6202 Turbomotive racked up 128,000 miles in 18 months. How crazy is that?
That is actually pretty good. Absolutely, yeah. I mean, I must admit, there's a part of me thinking that that's the engineer in you, because you've immediately homed in on the engineering, the technology side of it. I was quite surprised. I thought you'd say something like Beachy Head, a locomotive like the H2 Atlantic, which nearly got preserved, but because they couldn't raise the money at the time, they didn't. Or the Z class as well as another one. But no, it's interesting to hear your thoughts on the Turbomotive, and certainly it's one of the things that I have noticed in the US. They seem to have embraced newer technologies far more than in the UK in terms of things like gas turbines. We dabbled with that with the GT3, and later on the very first HSTs had the Rolls-Royce Tyne turbines, and then BR got cold feet and ended up going with the Paxman diesels. But no, it's just interesting that a lot of this technology seems to have had a lot more traction in the US, if you pardon the pun. But look, anyway, it's been really great to chat with you. And getting an insight into the films, and I'm really looking forward to the next one. And as I said at the beginning, for me it's like the Top Gear of railway films, accessible even for the Cupboard Monkey's not a trained person, but we sat in bed watching them, and she said, I'm really enjoying this, and it's a very amicable style of presenting, almost like Richard Hammond, I'd guess, is the person that you remind me of a lot. That presentation style with the energy, but that fun edge. So keep up the good work, and thank you so much for taking some time out to come on the Monday Club. And I'm just, for some reason, my chat has crashed. I can't. I don't know. I'm just trying to see if we've got any questions. For some reason, my chat has crashed. But certainly, it's been great to have you on.
Well, thanks for having me on in the first place. Like I say, I always feel a little bit out of my depth whenever I come here, but being accepted like this is just really sweet of you. And it's sweet of everyone who tunes into the chat. So everyone who has listened to me mumble on tonight, thank you very much for
I think
making the time.
It's always nice to get sort of into the actor's studio sort of thing. Seeing the process behind producing such things, and it's great to get that side of things. But look, thank you so much. I'm very conscious I've kept you for quite a long time now, so I'm going to let you get on, but thank you so much for joining us, and hopefully we'll catch up with you again at some point.
Thank you very much again, Jennifer. Thank you.
Take care. Anyway, thank you very much. That's Chris Eden Green, and as we said before, if you want to go and check out his DVDs for sale, there's some ones that have been re-released. Go and check out at his channel. We'll try and put that link into the chat so that people have got it.
It's already in the description.
Oh, it's already in the description. So if people want to look at the description, there is a link. But look, thank you so much. Cool, God, it's very hot up here. So thank you so much, and take care. So,
thanks for joining us, Chris. Bye.
For some reason, my chat has crashed.
Yes, YouTube's having major problems with chat.
It's just stopped updating. So,
it stopped updating for everyone, Jen. I've just said.
So I'm really sorry, people who are typing in the chat. For some reason, it has crashed, and I don't know how to uncrash it. I've tried bailing out, and then. Oh wait a minute, is that still? That is still updating, or is it?
Is it?
That's different from what it's showing to me.
Yes,
so
it's jumping in and out. I've tried it on the Xbox, I've tried it on my phone, I've tried it on all sorts.
So we got Gwion Rhys Davies, Peter Jackson, Cheadle Heath, James Petts, always approved. Yes, it is coming in. Gwion Rhys Davies says it's fine my end. Leslie Gilpin Railway says I'd love 6 months in the USA filming trains. You've got to remember, it's like we were talking with Chris, it's a job. And unfortunately, with a lot of these things, when you have to do it as a job, it's not like when you're on holiday. We are on live chat.
Always live chat.
Yeah, it's coming in now. Big hello to Dundee Road, Andy Stewart, Wamgok, and I think there'd be a few people need a bit of a Gandalf. So we'll get Gandalf
A
in.
Monday clubber is never late to the wagons, nor is he early. He arrives precisely when he means to.
Thanks, Gandalf.
It's pouring down outside, by the way.
I can feel the change in the humidity.
I can't. I've come upstairs. I've come up here, and immediately I'm now melting.
Well, I'll tell you what. I will turn one of our many fans, yay, around, and let me just
Do it myself. So that
you do that. I'll just toot my own horn. And also, whilst I remember,
that is your horn.
Yeah.
You also nicked my horn. I got this at the Worth Valley Railway, and Jen nicked it.
Absolutely. Well, of course I'm going to nick it. Toot toot. I don't respect my authority. So, John JMC says, "Oh, I thought I got away with that." Exankun42 says, "What is the worst crash you've had on camera?" That was
the
when
entire computer.
No, well, we had a train just like do complete destruction on camera at the front here before now, but we seem to be doing all right. It's, for some reason, the Class 27 tripped things out, so I've not restarted that.
You tripped things
It
out.
is really, really hot here, so if I sounded a bit spaced out and not quite sure of myself in the interview, it's just I'm literally getting heat stroke up here.
Space Jam. Always wanted you to go into space.
But
Jam.
quick recap on the news. The Daypol B4 as in O gauge has been released. A number of different liveries. These mirror some of the double O gauge liveries. And certainly one of the most impressive ones is the London and South Western Railway P Green as number 91. And they do look very interesting. We're going to be doing a full review of those next week. Interestingly, yes, we are.
Does that mean I have to do work?
Yes, you do.
I don't
And
like the
also,
idea of work.
can I just say as well,
No, you can't.
because we know that people are struggling financially at the moment, difficult times. In conjunction with TMC, they have very kindly sent over one of these Class 108s. You may have seen that advert. They got them in the sale. Really great price, and certainly the prices on DMUs have gone through the roof. That is Thunder, by the way, if anybody's wondering about the big booms that sound like somebody's demolishing a wall somewhere. But thanks to TMC, we will be doing another giveaway. So this brand new Class 108 will be coming not next week, but the week next week. No, so not next Monday Club, but the Monday Club afterwards. We'll be doing a giveaway, and one lucky person, courtesy of TMC, will be getting themselves this BR Blue Grey Class 108. So a big thank you to TMC, and of course you can go and check out their sale at the moment. There's a lot of sales on, and it is in some respects a good time to be perusing. And the Ellis Clark Trains video that we did as well has gone down very, very well. Certainly, it's always great to be able to share some of these bargains with you. After there was one particular retailer incurred the ire and wrath of the community with their descriptions. I felt it was important to show
that not all of them are as bad.
Absolutely. So, James Pett says, I approve of 108s. SHGP Media says, I've got some from the weekend with single figures and some with almost a couple of thousand views, yet same subject, same time, etc. They'll come in halfway through.
I believe that's talking about how YouTube sometimes benefits people for actually running to a schedule, and sometimes just arbitrarily decides not to.
It's weird, you know. Sometimes you do a video and it should be a viral hit, and it isn't. Can I just say, particularly, I froze a Locomotive. It's a bit of a silly season. I froze a Locomotive into a block of ice and let it thaw out and saw if it still worked. It did. And that has not even got 2,000 views. Ben Davis asks, Jennifer and special guest, do you think of Thomas and Friends' unlikely fandom documentary film coming this year? Do you think it coming to the UK as Thomas starts in the UK? I wasn't aware of that, to be honest. I must admit.
First time I've heard of this.
What you got to remember is I'm in my mid-40s. Thomas the Tank Engine, to me, was the books. And then very, very much towards the end was Ringo Starr and I think they were Gauge 1 models.
No. Thomas is Ringo Starr on TV going do 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 do. That is Thomas.
Somebody put 50p in the
also,
dickhead over
that
there.
game. We're playing that game on JK2. And you're going to love it. I know you are.
But no, I mean, for me, growing up, it was the books. I loved the books, loved the pictures, everything about them.
For me, the books that I was there for, the absolute brilliant ones, were He-Man, Transformers, and Puddle Lane. Who remembers Puddle Lane? That was so cool. That's stopped, isn't it?
Yeah,
Jen, are we going to be doing some videos?
Yes, we are.
We've got like 6.
Yeah, get them up. Get them up.
Hey!
I believe that last week the Cupboard Monkey got up to date on the videos, which is pretty cool. That must be a first. People going, oh my god, I just sent that in. I wasn't expecting to see that get played for a few months.
Yeah, for the next 6 weeks.
Yeah. Simon Train's Mother Railway Showcases, 26th of June. I won't be in for the Monday Club, so I shall be in Scotland by then, filming a huge video, which I've been planning since May, June 2022.
Isn't it great when you get something together that you've been planning for so long and then you actually get to do it?
Unfortunately, why has that suddenly started going the wrong way?
Because you weren't paying attention and it went, look, mom. So the first video that we've got, we're going to jump in straight away because then we can come back and have a chat afterward, is from Charlie at Partick Station. He says, I just finished filming and editing the completion of my tenement building. What were you saying, sorry?
Yeah, I was just saying to people, you got to be in it to win it, so do stay tuned. But if you can't wait and you're not feeling lucky, then you can get these from TMC at the moment. So we're just letting people know. We will be doing a full review video on that next week.
Yes.
Yeah, what else has been in the news? Well, the Class 89 Flying Badger livery samples in GNER.
Do I have to now find a sound effect and work out how to do a sound effect for a flying badger?
What do badgers sound like?
I don't know, I can do a duck.
Yeah, why can't the people just call it the flying duck? That'd be so much easier.
Well, they called it one of mallard.
Oh, yes, there we go. Anyway, meanwhile, back at the ranch, Exarchan42 asks, what was your favourite Railway Series book? Oh, I like Tramway Engines.
I got you the complete Thomas set, didn't I? In a giant hardback.
It wasn't complete, but it was like a big chunk of them.
I thought it was the complete Audrey ones, Revel and Audrey.
Oh yeah, I don't know. I must dig it out. Where is it anyway?
I don't know.
Yeah, I have to dig that
Probably
out.
not in here.
I like Tramway Engines, but I also liked what was the one with Duck and Oliver? Was it Western Engines?
I don't know.
And Enterprising Engines as well.
I think it's over here. Actually, now I'm looking at it because you have some Thomas behind the screen. I'm not going to move anything because there's a lot of stuff there.
Yeah, you leave it. James Pett says Badger's Snuffle. And Sarah Davis says badgers tend to sound all muffled due to their love of mashed potato. Everybody
Poacher and badger. Poacher.
Everybody knows Poacher loves mashed potato. you know how you like you have these random little snippets of memories of things, and well, that's stuck in my head from somewhere in
I have
childhood.
to admit, I did like Bodger and Badger. It was ridiculous,
Yeah.
and that's why I liked it.
Exarcun42 says enterprising engines is awesome. SHGP Media says, have you seen Talisman have a competition on at the moment to make dioramas of the illustrations from the original Thomas book?
Lovely.
Oh.
That's
Ruben
nice.
Astral says, yeah, Oliver the Western Engine has Duck and Oliver. I just like that. There was
We need a
something...
new book series. Larry the Locomotive, done in the style of Viz. And every single time the story starts, you're just waiting like, where is he? What's he going to do this
Yeah,
time?
what's he done? Said the obese controller with bend over and take it action. Oh, and the strip mine playset.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
And of course the railway company owner with barrel scraping action
anyway,
and kung fu grip.
are we going to be watching a video?
Yeah, but you started talking about something else. So I
You
stopped
started
because-
on badgers. Anyway, flying badgers. The GNER livery sample has been shown by Accurascale. It's being done in conjunction with Rails of Sheffield. Also, just a
station. He's
Did
making
you
a
check the
tenement.
sounds?
Yeah.
Oh, I like that with the demolished building.
I love the yeah.
Oh, and then the photos for the inspiration. Look at this is doing weird things now. I think the heat's starting to get to stuff.
I think the heat is. So we won't go too much longer, but we will get through the videos. This is wow, the amount of time. Look at the way the roof is coming off.
It's the all the mess on the ends where
The roof is starting to peel back and you can see the exposed wood. The
gosh,
bends.
it's like I remember bits of Govan used to look like this in the late 90s before everything started getting renovated. Mark Wilson asks, why was the 89 not a success? Well, you could argue, actually, the Class 89 was a success. It was just merely a successful design that was not taken up. I think instead they went for the Class 91. James Wheeler says, sorry, I'm late.
Oh, I like the elastic band to hold it all together.
It's a good construction technique.
A Monday clubber is never late, Toto Wagons, nor is he early. He arrives precisely when he means to.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Gandalf.
This is wonderful.
Yeah, I mean that I do like that kind of run-down decay. I mean,
Yeah.
I remember driving through Govan because you did drive through Govan, you didn't stop.
Look at that.
But that with the demolished,
And all the graffiti on it. Oh.
well, that's like the remains of like wallpaper and stuff.
No, that's clearly adverts or something stuck on the side.
But that is lovely. Anyway, look, thank you very much for sharing that with us.
That street scene is the first active Twitter spat.
So
it.
right, anyway, I've gone back to just check the cameras come up.
Give me a second, I'm trying to find the button.
Okay. Oh no, my buttons.
Thank you so much for sending that in, Paddy.
That was
That was
interesting.
amazing.
I really enjoyed that. Chehalis Valley Rail Production says, guess that means I arrived precisely when I meant to.
A Monday clubber is never late, Toto Wagons, nor is he early. He arrives precisely when he means to.
Thanks, Gandalf.
Thanks, Gandalf.
And yes, Charlie Chimp, it is still derailed. There we go. Let me fix that. I'm not going to get it running just yet, but...
So, we've got a message here from Warbler Productions, if you want to read that out.
So this is Hi Jenny and Zoe. Hello. Once again, we had some mainline steam through Atherstone Station over last week. This time it was a certain famous green engine with the number 60103, otherwise known as the Flying Money Pit. Sorry, Flying Scotsman.
That's
If you
Jenny's
feel it
favourite
costs too
locomotive.
much to keep on the main line. This one loco keeps a lot of non-railway people interested in railways, so it has its good points. Sadly, it also attracts people who want to get as close to the tracks as possible and thus trespass upon the railway. They do, actually.
Yeah, they don't. A lot of people these days don't understand how dangerous it is.
Yeah, they're just like, oh, I must get everything on my little mobile phone so I can put it up in Shaco Cam on my social media.
Hi, Les. How you doing?
Big hello to you, Les. Oh, he's late.
A Monday clubber is never late, Toto Wagons, nor is he early. He arrives precisely when he means to.
Thanks, Gandalf.
Always great
welcome.
to see you, Les.
Absolutely. So, this is from Warbler, and it's the Flying Scotsman. And according to what he said in the chat, there may be some heat lines. So we'll have to have a look.
Some what lines?
Heat lines on the screen because of how hot it's been today.
It has been incredibly hot.
My goodness, yeah, you can see it. It's
The heat haze.
heat haze, yeah.
Yeah, heat lines. It's not like go faster stripes.
Here we go. It should have go faster stripes. That would be cool. Yeah, you see those things that pop up on your screen in the chat? That's what's crashing it at the moment. YouTube has a problem.
Yeah, I noticed. Oh, wow. Choo
Big
choo!
Where's the rest of it?
It's going to have to go back for it.
There's only two of them.
Yeah. And here it comes again.
Beep beep.
Choo choo. Oh, there, this is.
It's found the rest now. It lost the rest of its coaches. That's why it's gone so fast. Yeah. So there you are. It's got them all now. Beep beep. Richard Swiderski says it's a lovely engine. Jenny loves it too. She just.
Oh, it's the tumble of clowns.
They've got hold of a train now. Oh no! How many are going to fit in there? There was like 100 of them in one car.
Okay, that's the tumble of clowns.
Yes. The clowns. They've managed to get themselves a locomotive now.
And you know there's a lot of them in there.
Warbler Production says Mr. Waving Hands deliberately stood there when he saw I was filming. There are some people that do that.
There are some ignorant people like that.
That actually happened to me when I was dealing with the Olympic torch when it was coming through Bolton. I set up with my camera, and then the moment that someone noticed I pressed record, came and stood in front of it.
Did you tell him to get lost?
What I actually did was accidentally hit him with it as I lifted it over his head.
Yeah.
And I do not, I have no qualms about that. I do not regret it.
Yes, you definitely, there's something you don't have. Right.
That was lovely. Thank you, Warbler.
Yeah, Flymo Chairman 1 asks, is anyone else's spanner flickering when you post a comment?
Yeah, YouTube has a major issue. It's been over the last few days.
It may well be a heat-related issue.
No, it's been over the last few days on various things. There's something wrong at YouTube. I think it's something to do with their spam filters.
Could be.
Because it's often coming up with the thing of, can you accept or deny this
and then
comment?
It doesn't let you.
And then it doesn't do anything, it just crashes it. Hope you did not break your camera, Zoe. Nope, it was fine. It was the edge of it rather than the lens.
Yeah. Sarah Davis says, I always said to my ex Sam, who's a wheelchair user, whenever we're passing an inconsiderably parked car on the pavement, careful not to scratch this nice car. I used it in Durham. There was a Belisha Beacon crossing. And it used to irritate me. The number of people who just speed straight past you. You're halfway across the Belisha Beacon crossing. And they would speed up and just go round you. And I took to actually holding my keys in front of me. And as the car went past, I'd make sure I keyed it. Well, basically, no. I held the key there and they keyed themselves.
Please notice, anyone who's listening to this, that these are, of course, hypotheticals. We're not admitting to our many crimes.
I was walking across the crossing with my key ready to insert into my door, which was admittedly about 300 yards away, and this car just walked round.
The car walked past you. My goodness, an amazing feat.
Right, okay. Anyway, let's moving on now.
So-
Alan Pollock says, "Hi guys, hopefully I've not missed the important announcements." Well, one of them is Gandalf.
A Monday clubber is never late, Jenny Kirk, nor is he early. He arrives precisely when he means to.
Thanks, Gandalf.
You're
very,
welcome.
very interesting. Right, so are we
Yes, so
ready?
next up we have from Richard Swiderski another look at the Flying Scotsman, this time passing Beeston
Castle signal box. Go
Here we
for it.
Beep, 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 beep.
All right. Simon Train's Model Railway Showcase says, "Car walks past Transformers."
Yes.
Transformers, robots in disguise.
Autobots wage their battle to destroy the evil
Now,
Decepticons.
Zoe, you can stop that any
Can
time.
I?
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, hold on.
Here we go.
Oh no, we're still going there.
Where's the train?
Train.
I have to admit, Richard Swiderski always does an excellent animation. Look at the way the trees are moving.
For the cow
flowers.
parsley.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look at that. It's at full. Oh, hold on. I've got my sound effects.
That's well chuffed, that is.
Can I, at this conjecture, also say a big thank you to Tram
yes.
Fabrique, who very kindly sent some of their painted figures. I just got some decoders delivered, actually, for doing the Class 108 review next week, and they put these in as well. I think they may have them available on their website, but these are...
sent some amazingly detailed figures there.
Two of them are female locomotive crew, which I think that's great, because normally you just get the traditional blokes. A couple of blokes going, oh, we're blokes, we're driving a train, it's great.
Twizzleton says, "I think I did it twice due to poor connection, no real need for that." I don't know what you're on about there, Twizzleton, but I will look in the comments just in case it's an issue. Can you press the button, please, Jen?
Oh, right, yes.
Thank you.
Pressing the
100th
button.
birthday, Flying Scotsman, says Richard Swiderski. Thank you
we've
so much for
pressed
sending
the
that
button.
in.
Just check it's done.
I will do that now. Thank you so
Oh,
much.
there we go. Yeah.
Jenny,
Zoe,
is there any news?
I've already been giving the news. So we've had the Acura Scale news. Also, I would like to encourage anybody who's been umming and ahhing about getting a Monday Club wagon, the Pal Brick. Do please check it out at the link down below in the description box. It's a great opportunity to get yourself the Pal Brick. And also, now that the regular versions have sold out, it's the only original version Pal Brick on the market.
Yes, if you want one, get in there
Only
quick.
£25 from Rails of Sheffield.
Coincidentally, only 25 left. So get in quick.
Oh, Puggy Poo!
I thought you might like this one. So we've got a message here from Peter Jackson at Cheadle Heath.
Another shortage video showing Lancashire and Yorkshire Pug 11243. I think that was the one that was originally number 19. And it has actually run in preservation as 51243, although it was sold out of service before, but it never was owned by British Rail. Now, Peter Jackson Cheadle Heath asks, "Are the brick loads still available, Jenny?" I believe they are. Again, they can be bought at the same time via Rails of Sheffield. Les Cliff says, "Got my Pal Brick and my 3D Jenny Kirk." Of course.
Here's my Pal Brick.
And of course, yes, if you go to Model U, you can get yourself a 3D printed Jenny Kirk to be able to add to your model railway. And they do any size from N scale right up to, I think it's 1/12. If you want like a massive figurine to mingle with your Royal Dalton. It's a dinky little thing. I love that. Oh, what's the one behind it?
I don't know.
That's not the Manchester Ship Canal Arundel Castle, is it? I know that was running, but it's interesting actually because the little Puggy Poo you see there was returned to Steam comparatively recently after having been effectively established.
Thomas! It's Thomas!
I think that's the Manchester Ship Canal. Yeah, Brussels. So that's Belgium, isn't it?
Oh,
It's
everyone's saying Pizza
interesting-
of Death.
What? Sorry. Pizza of Death.
It's
would you-
spinning. It seems okay on our side.
Still running.
Oh, it seems okay here.
Yeah.
Feed us. I'm sorry about that, but we got. That's a lovely little loco. But I want to see more of Thomas. Come on, give me more Thomas, man. And, you know I'm good for it.
And then
That
we-
is a really interesting looking look. I like that. It's got something interesting to it.
Yeah, people say all okay now, says Richard Swiderski.
Are we going to see any more Thomas? Doesn't look like. So just in case it froze and people don't know what I'm on about.
I think that's one of the Manchester Ship
There,
Canal
it's Thomas the
locos.
Tank Engine.
No, it's a blue Huns.
There it goes. It's a nice looking little thing there.
Dinky little thing, isn't it?
Yeah. You've left your carriages behind, dude.
Oh no!
Hey, it's running free today.
Oh,
Hey.
hold on.
That is so cool. Thank you so much for sending
Paul
that in,
Piglet
Peter.
Middleton.
That is great.
Piggly Wiggly!
Presidency
Piggly
buttonsies.
Wiggly!
That was wonderful. Thank you so much for sending that in.
Right, what I am actually starting to melt. I must admit that there's a part of me thinking that I might have to call it early.
Okay,
Because
well, in
I'm
that
getting
case-
heat stroke. It is quite hot up here.
In that case, we have one more video and then we'll call it a day.
Okay, so one more video.
And it's Jenny's.
It's Flying Money
It's
Pit.
Jenny's favourite again. This one's from Simon Trains. Do you want to read out what that is?
So this is from Simon Poole. It says, "Good evening, Jenny and Zoe." Good evening. Just want to say that I enjoyed the interview with Chris Eden Green. It was brilliant, and the video I'm sending from my other channel, Simon Trains, is Jenny's favourite loco. 60103 Flying Scotsman passing through Stafford on the Cheshireman heading back towards London. Thanks for the Monday Club and gronk it up!
Gronk it up!
Gronk it up! Not a
Get
cult.
up!
Flying Chairman 1 says, my clock has stopped.
Ah. It's twice a day, though.
A Warbler Production says, the Blue Hunslet is Gothenburg. So I was right. It was one of the ship canal Hunslets.
It was Thomas in disguise.
one of the earliest engines to have arrived at
Here
Bury.
it goes, here it goes. Wait, beep, 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 beep. Look at the speed of that.
Oh, shoot, hold on.
Beep, 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 beep.
That's quite a long train, actually.
Yeah, he's found all these carriages that he lost last time. And then there's a little purple one on the back. Yay!
Yeah. Oh, right,
that was
okay.
lovely. Thank you
There we
so
go.
much for sending that in.
Right. So, we are absolutely sweltering here. Even though the weather is broken outside, apparently, with lots of rain and stuff, we are struggling. So, let's just...
Yeah, that one was from Simon Trains and it was lovely. Thank you very much for sending that in. What you got here? What you doing? Ooh. Are you pressing buttons and making things go beep beep? Oh, we've lost the camera. Deactivate, activate, activate. Beep beep.
So let's see if I can get all of these... Oh, there we go. Right, anyway, look, thank you Whoa!
You put it on the autoplay, haven't you?
Yeah. So thank you everybody for dropping in tonight, and we had a great interview with Chris Eden Green. We do have a link to his DVDs in the description box down below. You'll also
Absolutely.
find a link to the Monday Club Power Break. In the news, we talked about the Acura scale and next batch of 37s, including 37027 in small logo blue with the grey stripe along the body side. They are imminent if indeed they haven't already arrived. The next batch of the GT3s from KR Models have started arriving, and these include 3 new What If liveries: BR Black, BR Green, and also LMS Black. And certainly following on from the success of the BR Rail Blue versions, which sold out these are sure to be popular. The Class 89 Flying Badger, Badger loves mashed potato, from a Cura scale has been shown off,
Mushroom.
and also the O-Gauge B4 from Daypole has started to hit the shops. Let me just come here, you.
Did you just use the green finger to
I used the
jumpstart a
green.
locomotive?
Yeah, I did actually. The green finger of doom. So good night, everybody. It's been great having your company. Just sorry we're having to cut short because the absolute heat. Anybody in the UK will sympathise because unless you've got air conditioning, it's really hot. We don't have air conditioning.
We don't have air conditioning yet, mostly because we can't fit it in here.
I've got a fan. And it just blows hot air at you. Yeah, I'm telling them.
Stop shouting at your trains
Yeah.
like a mad woman.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Jenny's brain has broken due to the
I
heat.
have actually,
so
yeah.
we're going
I've
to
got
say
heat stroke. I
take
can
care,
feel it. I've got a
have
headache.
a great evening. Bye
Really,
for now.
take care. Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
The train now departing is a 2031 service to a nice lie down after having a cold shower. That's the 2131 service to having a lie down after a cold shower. If you go up to the loft today, you're sure of a big surprise. If you go up to the loft today, you'll never believe your eyes. For every train there ever was is gathered there together because today's the day that Jenny does the Monday Club. Good night.
Good night, everybody.